Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. Please consider subscribing to my channel. So today I'm gonna be showing you my top 5 fragrances that I reach for when the temperature is hot, very hot. And you know that right now these days there's the heat wave in Europe and the temperatures rise above 40 degrees Celsius. So this is real, you know. And these are my go-to fragrances. I love them. They're so refreshing, so nice. And I'm one of those people that I don't have a problem wearing projecting and really strong fragrances and very like potent fragrances. I have no problem whatsoever. Sweet fragrances, coconut fragrances, some even kind of nauseating fragrances that can become nauseating with the hot weather. I have no problem whatsoever. I can wear whatever fragrance I want, but it doesn't mean that I want to wear them. When it's becoming hot, I tend to wear something lighter, something fresher, and there are several notes that I usually reach for. For me, the fragrance to become my go-to fragrance in summer, in very scorching hot summer, because not all summers are hot, right? The fragrance has to be green tea. Watery notes should be in this fragrance. There should be some maybe jasmine tea in the fragrance. This fragrance may or may not be white flower based, but just not the tuberose, not this very strong tuberosy. Maybe jasmine. Jasmine is better than the tuberose. And mind you, I love tuberose, I love jasmine, but I'm just talking about these summer fragrances. And obviously citruses. Citruses is my go-to. And also juniper berries. Juniper berries it's just a miracle. The fragrance with the juniper berries becomes a little bit more masculine, on the masculine side, or maybe the unisex, but the juniper is something that really, in my opinion, refreshes the fragrance. But the 5 fragrances that I want to share with you today, they are, I would say, 2 of them are on like the unisex side, and the 3 of them are more on the feminine side. And I also wanted to touch upon a thing that some people say, that in order to make your fragrance last, because I for instance, I do have a problem when it's very hot. The fragrances on my skin, they just don't last. Not even Montal fragrances. Like for instance, Montal fragrances last on me in summer, scorching hot summer, like an hour or 2. So I do have this problem, and obviously sweating and etc, you just adding to the fragrances not being as longevous and projecting on my skin. So what some people advice is to make this kind of layering combo, and in my opinion the layering combo is good, but when it's very hot, for instance my skin in a very hot humid weather, the creams, because some people say that, well, you do have a fragrance and you have to have the matching cream, the body cream with the matching fragrance, so you kind of layer them one on another, and it's gonna make your fragrance last. The problem for me is when it's too hot, the cream just doesn't absorb, so the cream like sits on my skin and it doesn't go inside, it's not absorbed by the skin. So the skin, it starts sweating even more. So it's like, it's a disaster. So for me, and I prepared one cream, like just a random one. It's the cream by Narciso Rodriguez, and it is a good thing, but just not when it's very hot. When it's very hot, there's no way this thing will absorb into my skin, and it's not gonna happen. So what I advise you to do is the thing that I don't usually do, but in a scorching hot weather I do it. I spray directly on my clothes. I usually spray on my skin, the fragrances, but on the clothes, the fragrances just last longer. If on my skin the fragrance lasts, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, on my clothes, like the whole evening, up until the day to like the day after, so it's no problem. So just spray on your clothes. And also there's some other things that I like to do, like for instance the fragrances for the hair, because in my opinion the fragrances for the hair, or spraying directly into your hair, it might help you with the longevity of the fragrance. Because the skin, again, my skin, it seems that my skin just repels the fragrance when it's very hot. So I have to reapply the fragrance quite frequently, when in winter it just doesn't happen. I make my 8-10 sprays and I'm good to go the whole evening. In summer, 8 sprays, I'm good to go for 2 hours. So yeah. So in my opinion, well, it depends. It obviously depends on the skin. If your skin, if you don't sweat, because there are some people that just don't sweat, no matter how hot it is, they just don't sweat. So if you don't sweat, the combo, the cream plus the fragrance might work for you. But for me personally, it just doesn't work. Anyway, let's go to the fragrances, and these are the fragrances that I have been talking about. These fragrances quite sometimes. You probably know them. You know them, and if you have been following me for some time, you know that I love them. So I'm gonna start with the one fragrance that I absolutely adore. This is the Jasmin d'Eau. And by the way, I don't know what's happening with the Lancome, with the Maison Lancome line, but I have seen there's a new fragrance coming out in this line, and the bottle is different, so it is different design altogether. Anyway, this is Water Jasmine fragrance, and it has jasmine tea, white peach, bergamot, and plum blossom. So as I've told you in the beginning of this video, the tea fragrances are the ones that just give me this freshness. Just, I love this tea fragrances, and they are not longeve by any means, but when I want to feel fresh, when I want to feel this kind of right out of the shower, these are the fragrances that I gravitate to. And the longevity isn't good. I have to say, it isn't good. But you just have to reapply. You just have to keep reapplying it all the time. So the next fragrance that I want to talk to you about, this is the fragrance. It was such a discovery for me, and I'm so happy that I do own this fragrance now. And in my opinion, the notes are not really what I feel when I spray this fragrance. So I'm gonna read the notes anyway, but you're gonna see that how I feel the fragrance is nothing like the notes. So the note says that there's the pear, green notes, citrus, water jasmine, again water jasmine, salt, lily of the valley, rose, musk, and sandalwood. For me, this is the fragrance that you or your body has when you are stepping out of the shower. You have just freshly showered, you have just you know, rinsed your shampoo, applied your conditioner, you rinsed it, so you have this kind of shampooy fragrance on your hair, on your body. This is the fragrance that I have. So this is the watery shampooy fragrance, and this is such a beautiful one. And some people would say, well, what's beautiful in smelling like a shampoo? Well, this is an expensive shampoo, I have to say. It smells like an expensive shampoo, but plus of this fragrance is that this fragrance, it literally gives you the feeling that you have just showered. No matter how much time passed from your last shower, if you reapply this fragrance, if you will keep reapplying it in a scorching hot weather, this is gonna give you this freshness, out of the shower freshness. And I do love this fragrance for this, because this is just a lifesaver sometimes. If you can't have a shower like every time you want, this is a fragrance that you'll need. The next fragrance is, this is the one and only for me, and I love this fragrance so much, and I've been loving this fragrance for such a long time, and it is now discontinued. Well, it's not on the website, it's not on the official website, but it is still sold in the stores, and I trust they just keep selling it because they have just made so many bottles of this fragrance. So this fragrance is readily available at this moment. So this is Versense by Versace, and this is such a beautiful fragrance. It's not my first bottle, and I also had a body cream that I used as a hand cream because the smell was amazing, and it was quite good for my skin on my hands as well. So it has bergamot, citruses, green mandarin, fig, pear, cardamom, lily, jasmine, narcissus, Virginia cedar, musk, olive tree, and sandalwood. So for me, primarily, this is about green citrus. This is the green citrus, a little bit musky, but this kind of clean musky, not stinky musky, nothing like that. Just the clean citrus smell for me, and it's such a beautiful one. It's such a compliment getter for me. Well, obviously this is not a bottle that I've been using for long, but I do have very pleasant, good memories from the bottle that I previously had, and people used to give compliments when I was wearing this fragrance because it just smells fresh, it just smells clean, it just smells pleasant, and people like to stand near you, especially if you are in the huge crowd, or you're like in the party and you have a lot of people and it's quite crowded and it's quite hot, and you know, some people, they probably don't like to shower all that often. So I know that people tend to you know, to stand close to me because I always smell good. So the next one is the fragrance that, well, this is actually a flanker of the fragrance that I love for so many years. I've been loving this fragrance, Calvin Klein one, and this is the fragrance Summer. It's called Summer, but it's just, I guess it's Summer 2019, something like that. It's a flanker, but it is still available. I have seen it on some websites, and the price point for this one is just good. I do believe it costs around 20 euros for this 100 bottle. Anyway, the notes of this fragrance are just fantastic for summer. They have tea, watery notes, and driftwood. So it's just watery and green tea and a little bit of this woodiness, but it's not strong, it's not overpowering. What you can feel is the water and greenness, and it's such a, you know, it's good. It is very, very good fragrance. And so the last one that I want to tell you about is the Elizabeth Arden. And Elizabeth Arden, for me, especially the green tea one, as you might know, I am a lover of green tea fragrance. The original green tea for me is a masterpiece. I love this fragrance to bits, but I also like the flankers. And as much as I love the flankers and the original green tea, just as much I dislike the white tea. The white tea, there's something about the white tea of Elizabeth Arden that we just don't get along. So this is the fragrance that I wanted to show you. This is green tea nectarine blossom, and again, this is a very watery, very tea like citrus. So it has peach, green tea, exotic fruits, bergamot, nectarine, again green tea, nectarine blossom, and musk. And if there's the musk is clean and nice and transparent. It's not like stinky musk, it's not like sensual musk, it's just something like soft and transparent. So for me, if you as you might already understood, for me the main notes that kind of give the freshness for my fragrance, the notes that I prefer in summer, in a hot summer, are the green tea, again, some watery notes, but please pay attention, because some fragrances say that they have watery notes, sea notes. Stay away from the sea notes because they usually contain salt, and when it's very hot, the salty note, it might come across as something really unpleasant. Just test the fragrance prior spraying it on yourself. Just if there's the possibility to choose the fragrance, stay away from the watery and salty notes. And obviously there are several fragrances that were made for summer, that were specifically made, and they are summer favorites, and they have salt. I do have one here. I just wanted to well, this one specifically, it doesn't have salt, but some people kind of smell this. This is Beach Walk. So I do think that this one is one of the iconic summer fragrances. It has coconut, it has citruses and flowers, but sometimes people say that it smells like suntan lotion and stuff like that. So these kind of fragrances that are amazing in summer, and I love them in summer, but when it comes to the very hot weather, I would still advise you to stay away from those, because they tend to have the coconut, and the coconut might be very unpleasant when it's very hot. They tend to have salty notes because they tend to recreate this being on the seaside, and the sea is salty, so sometimes they add salt to it, and the salt isn't always the best choice. And obviously it's a beautiful choice when you are on the seaside and you feel hot and you just go out and you take a swim in the sea. This is the best outcome possible. But if you are not able to go in the sea right now and you just spray yourself with this fragrance, this is a totally different story. The smell, the authentic smell of the sea that you smell on the seaside, and the fragrance, they might be very different. They might come across very differently for you. So anyway, for me, when it's very hot, the rule number one, it's not about the fragrance, it's about drinking water. And I know how it might sound, you know, drink water, drink a lot of water. And obviously fragrances that I prefer, they are like watered fragrances. They have the water notes, they have the green notes, the citrus notes. I do believe that these are the best ones. And obviously you can use whatever fragrances you want, and sometimes I use whatever fragrances I want. They can be like very strong and potent and like very suffocating fragrances, but when it's really hot, I tend to be a bit more mindful about people around me, because not all people tend to love the fragrances that I love. So yeah, anyway, this is all. Please let me know if you know these 5 fragrances, if you use these fragrances, if you have used them in the past. Please let me know what are the fragrances that you like to use when it's very hot, and how you deal with the hot weather. What are the fragrances that you use? Or maybe you just don't use any fragrances at all. It might be also. So I thank you for your attention. I wish you a beautiful day. Please stay inside if it's very hot. Drink a lot of water. Use sunscreen religiously. Use sunscreen. And I will see you on Sunday. Bye.